What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back again with another Tottenham update where we look at all the Tottenham news in the transfer market surrounding the last 24 hours. Before we get into it, Ben is still not with us for the updates, but we have the ever reliable, the ever brilliant Brian Daigle in the house. How we doing, Brian?
I'm doing good, sir. I'm doing good. Loving these intros. Ben's got some work to do when he gets back. But yeah, always a pleasure, brother.
You bet. He's gonna have a long list of intros to make up all the times that I've had to introduce you. Let's start off with the news surrounding Eric Dier that's been breaking over the last 12 hours or so. Florian Plettenberg has said that there is a verbal agreement in principle about a potential move with Eric Dier to Bayern Munich. Talks and ideas about a permanent deal, but understand there's no final decision as of yet. Bayern also have other options. Paul O'Keefe says Eric Dier is on a list of 5 to 6 options Bayern Munich could move for. Inquiry only at this stage. These are all developing stories, so these are in chronological order. Charlie Eccleshare says Bayern Munich in talks with Eric Dier about a January move, one of several centre-back options they're looking at. Spurs happy for Dier, who's out of favour and out of contract in the summer, to leave this month. And then Tom Allnut from the Times, with the most interesting one, saying Bayern Munich have reached an agreement in principle with Eric Dier about a move from Tottenham. Bayern believe they have the green light from Dier to proceed with a move in this window if a deal can be agreed with Spurs. The German champions could even offer Tottenham a loan deal while covering all of the 29-year-old's wages until the end of the contract. Now, these rumours have been floating around, have they? Dier to Munich. Obviously, they were quite strong in the summer, with then nothing really happening. I really thought it was a flash in the pan, not a serious transfer to be considered. But this news is really hotting up over the last few hours, and it seems as though Bayern Munich are very serious about bringing Eric Dier through the door. And considering he's a player who's currently being picked behind Emerson Royal and Ben Davies as our centre-back options, do you find it quite bizarre that Bayern Munich is seriously interested in him?
I do. I find it. I'm sure Harry Kane's having words and speaking about him and how he is off the pitch as well as on the pitch. But what has surprised me is this started breaking just as we were coming off Cockerel Doodle Doo this morning, just before 10 o'clock. And ever since then, like you said, the story it's just developed very, very quickly, hasn't it? This really is moving at quite a frantic pace, and it looks like there's genuine substance behind it. And it really does look like this may go ahead.
Yeah, 100%. Apparently, Bayern are looking for like a player who can play centre back and also defensive midfielder. And they've decided, and they've looked at Dier and thought maybe with his experience, he could be the guy. Do you think, in terms of dealing with Tottenham, from a Bayern Munich point of view, is that the easy part? Like, is Tottenham going to put up a fight in terms of letting him go to Bayern? Surely, are we going to demand a fee? At this point, it does seem like we're willing to let him go for free, but you know what it is with Tottenham. Maybe now we've seen Bayern as the team coming in, we're like, well, maybe we can get something for him.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, first of all, I didn't know that part about Bayern looking for a central midfielder and central centre back. I actually think his best year with us was when he played that holding midfield role with Pochettino. I thought he had his best season in a Spurs shirt. That's an interesting part to this. The Bayern seeing for multiple positions. You look at this now. Bayern obviously have the relationship built up with us, whether it was a good one or a bad one, whichever way you look at it, with Harry Kane. And like you said, if they're willing to do it as a loan deal and pay the rest of his wages, I think that's going to be a green light from the club, isn't it? Because then at least they're not paying the wages and he's out. That will be the best for both parties, a clean break. But we shall see. It could be a dance to bring other people to the table, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But surely, if you're Dier and you know you're not getting anyone better than Bayern, and it's a big opportunity. I mean, you can see it in two ways. Does he see it as this is a great opportunity to really get one more big move in my career? And at 29, obviously, he probably never expected Bayern Munich to be a serious option. And does he jump at the chance, or does he feel like if I go to Bayern, I'm going to waste 2-3 years on the bench, and I'd much rather go somewhere where I'm a more central figure?
So the way I'm looking at it, the three that we can say we've heard about is obviously Bayern now, Sporting, and that little rumor about West Ham. I think West Ham goes to the bottom of that list, and it's just what he weighs up. I mean, he'll definitely win a Bundesliga if he goes to, and he'll win some silverware, or he goes home to Sporting, or his second home, Sporting Lisbon, where he grew up, and finish his career there. So it's whether he goes for the romantic part or the big move, which will probably no doubtedly play more money and get more trophies. It's going to be his decision there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually mad to think he's only 29. We talk about Dier as if he's like 35, but
Yeah.
he's not even 30 yet. So I guess he does have time on his side. He can spend a few years at Bayern and then, see how his career at Sporting. To be fair, if he chooses, but very interesting potential transfer for Dier. I mean, talking about failing upwards, as you say, like he really
Yeah.
hasn't had the best time of it over since that little spell under Conte where he had that 6 month spell, didn't he, where he was brilliant and we got top four. Since then, that was the end of 2022. We're now mid 2024, and he just hasn't been in good form for about 18 months now. And even before that little run under Conte, he wasn't doing fantastic. So I feel like this move would come as a real nice surprise for him. But look, good luck to him if he manages to get it. And I genuinely hope he does really well there. If he does end up at
Yeah.
Bayern Munich, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'll also add to that. I mean, I remember going to both legs of the semi-final with Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, and that's when he had that injury during the Conte time. And I remember that was a time where we were worried because he was out. It was like he is the defender we need in there in that three. And in the first leg, we did look a shambles without him there. When he was in the three, he did look like he was coming into some kind of form. But obviously, like you said, we're now midway through the 2023-24 season, and literally, it's not working out, and it's just best for both parties to have a clean break.
Do you reckon this would accelerate any centre back move for us, or do you think they're not connected, or do you hope they're not connected?
I'd hope they're not connected, but you would think if we're getting rid of another one and we're saying that we desperately need one, people can say, "Oh, but Eric Dier's not in the plans anyway." Well, it's still another defender short, and I've already decided it's the daily Dragathon. Now that's what I'm looking at. The daily Dragathon is what you should nickname the Daily Porro.
Yeah, probably. I think you're absolutely right. Next story we're going to be talking about is one about Jed Spence. Now, he was obviously on loan at Leeds since the start of the season, but that loan deal has been cut short. The club have confirmed that Jed Spence has returned to Tottenham following the termination of his loan from Leeds. Phil Hayes says Leeds have sent Jed Spence back to Tottenham. Leeds' decision to terminate the loan rather than a case of Spurs recalling him. Sammy Mockbell says Tottenham will make Jed Spence available for transfer following his unexpected return from a loan deal at Leeds. Spurs chief were taken by surprise on Thursday when they were informed by Leeds that they would be sending defender Spence back to North London with immediate effect. And there have been some quite interesting quotes from Daniel Farke surrounding the termination of the loan. When he was asked about it in today's press conference, he said, "Nothing major has happened. We've analysed the first half of the season. Obviously, when you make a decision in January, it is not short term. We wanted to take the impressions of the festive period into account. We came to the conclusion that we would end the loan of Jed. We were grateful for his time here and we wish him all the best." But then he did continue to talk about it. And this is quite interesting what he said. He said, "Obviously, it's important, the potential and the quality of the player, but also the professionalism, discipline, workload on and off the pitch, and also the soft skills. If he's positive and committed, good for the group and engaged with these topics. In the summer, we came here in order to create and to bring new values and to create a new culture within the club. And when we speak about a player, if he's on here on a permanent or a loan, we have expectations. And these expectations are in several topics important. Our demands are very, very high, and we don't differ between loan players and permanent players. So we are pretty picky in this topic." Very much alluding that there's been attitude problems again for Jed Spence, and that's something that's really plagued him, hasn't it, for a long, long time. Obviously, Neil Warnock was one of the first to point these out when he was Middlesbrough manager. Obviously, he went on loan to Forest from Borough and ended up, being Young Player of the Year in the Championship and had a brilliant season. Then he did that famous Twitter picture with a cigar in his mouth saying, "Welcome to Twitter, Neil Warnock." And then obviously Spurs signed him, and not one Spurs manager has liked him, to be honest. Every single one who's has either wanted to loan him out or just not wanting to give him any time, essentially. And he's now been on 2 loan spells, one at Rennes, which by and large was going okay before he picked up an injury. They seem to not mind him as much there. But then this Leeds one has been a bit of a disaster, albeit what I would say is, looking at the reaction from Leeds fans, a lot of them are saying he's clearly our best fullback. He's got bags of potential, and some of them are surprised that he's left, but some of them are like, he jogs back a lot. He's very lethargic. He clearly isn't giving his all, and that's what Daniel Farke demands. So when it comes to Jed Spence, is there how do we move forward from this? Is it a case of just get rid as soon as we can, or is there a player there that is ready to be unlocked?
So first of all, I think I'm waiting for Neil Warnock to do a Twitter response with his to the welcome to Twitter, Neil Warnock. I'm sure someone like Neil Warnock will fire back at some point. But yeah, you look at this attitude issues. I had a few people tell me little bits a bit that apparently at Spurs it was the same. And obviously, people at Forest, I've seen a lot of Forest fans tweeting when Spurs fans have been mentioning Jed Spence since this recall, saying, listen, he was electric for us. And he was. Some managers have some players where they just get on and it works, but it seems that Nottingham Forest seems to be the anomaly, and Steve Cooper was his man. It's not looking good. It's concerning. And what I would say is, I would rather have Spence as left back cover for Destiny rather than it, because I think he could do what Destiny does, not to the same level, but he's a similar kind of player, getting forward, attacking, as backup for Destiny. If we don't sign a left back, but it looks like him and Reggie will be out. I can't see it working under Postecoglou. Postecoglou's already sent him out once, which gives you the indication that it's not his kind of player, and it could be another one out the door. But these attitude, I get so concerned for players with these kind of issues because they get stereotyped, don't they? Or like actors like Liam Neeson in a action movie. You know what I mean? They're going to get named for just being this problem with attitude problems, and they're going to look back on their careers and think, what have I done?
Yeah, but it's also important, I think we all took we learned a lot from the whole Dele Alli incident, didn't we? Not to judge exactly what's on the surface and what we know, but this unfortunately seem to be a theme with Jed Spence, doesn't it? That everywhere he goes, there does seem that everyone don't seem to like his attitude, or there does seem to be a massive attitude problem about him taking things seriously and giving his all when it comes to these incidences. And it's a massive shame. And clearly, Daniel Farke, in that second bit of the quote I was reading, 100% alluding to him maybe not even being good for the group, maybe him having a bad influence on the group, and that's very concerning. He now returns to Spurs, and I don't really seeing him have a future here at this current point in time. I don't see. You saw that clip that's been circulating with Postecoglou, haven't you? When he said that when it comes to the choosing between the attitude of a player and the quality, I pick attitude every time, because the difference in quality can be negligible, but the difference in attitude, especially when how the rest of the group respond to it, can make the whole difference. And one bad egg can cause lots of problems. So I hope Jed Spence seems to sorts himself out sooner rather than later. But I think at this point, I don't see him come back to Spurs being involved in the squad, seeing as the main issue has been an attitude problem, apparently. So really concerning. But yeah, that's the news with Jed Spence.
Just to add to that as well, Stephen. Sorry, I just want to say, hate to say this, but Conte was right. Conte, he said he didn't want him, or we all read between the lines and alluded to that's what he was saying. And it looks like he was right in certain things, doesn't it? Like, don't get me wrong, Conte was wrong in lots and lots of other things, but it looks like he was spot on here, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the main criticisms I had for him, was, not maybe putting in some younger players, especially we had Doherty and Emerson playing very badly. And I was like, just give Spence a chance. But clearly there were some more underlying problems to Spence rather than just quality. And it's come to the fore now. I really hope for his future in the game that he can sort himself out and really, knuckle down and find a home somewhere. I just don't think he's going to be Tottenham. Yeah, I just don't think he's going to be Tottenham right now. So look, let's move on. Radu Dragusin, the daily Dragathon, as you called it.
There we go.
Talk about him. Morik92, a journalist out in Italy, says today Radu Dragusin's agent will be in Italy to talk to Genoa. The negotiation is open with Tottenham and with Napoli. Developments can happen today. Matteo Moretto says today Napoli took concrete steps for Dragusin by formalising a written offer for Genoa. Tottenham's relaunch is expected as they already have an agreement with the defender. Damasio says that Napoli are pushing to try and overtake Spurs in the race for Dragusin. And Paul O'Keefe does say that Dragusin wants Tottenham. So look, I hope it's not a case of if you snooze, you lose, but it's definitely not new to Tottenham. We've definitely seen that happen before with us.
Yeah.
Napoli do seem a serious option when it comes to Dragusin. They have been rumoured to be interested before. Part of me does feel like this is coming from Genoa to try and push the price up from Tottenham and try and get more money from us. But I do think that the interest from Napoli is genuine. And I do think if we don't get our act together quickly, then we could end up losing him.
Yeah, we could have lose it. I mean, from what I understand as well, Genoa are playing this evening. So it'll be interesting to see if Dragusin is actually on the starting lineup or even in the squad. Maybe that will be an indication that a transfer might be nearly complete. Either way, Tottenham, Napoli, if he's not in the squad. But yeah, we're here again, and I just hope we're not being used as a stalking horse once again. If we're being used as a stalking horse once again, which I don't believe we are, I stand by. I think we get this deal done. It's just this has been the the delays and the rumours and obviously agents and IT case and everything. We just wanted this wrapped up early, didn't we? And don't get me wrong, there's still a chance it could be wrapped up early in Tottenham time, kind of like Danny Kiriakou time. This could be wrapped up early Tottenham time, but it's just it's getting boring again, isn't it? These stories that we've had before with the Porro. I mean, Sim, you and Ben must be used to this now. Every window, I've said to you before about I want to do a collage of your optimism before the window, and then how quickly it goes bad during the window. But yeah, Dragusin, I want him to be a Spurs player. I think he'll be a Spurs player. But these noises aren't going away, are they? They're not being silenced.
No, definitely not. But it is a bit concerning that Napoli seem to be pushing ahead and seem to be very serious about him. And I really hope that it's not a case of Tottenham haggling over 5 million euros or so, and then Napoli just come in and say, "Look, here's 30 million euros. We want him, and we're prepared to pay." And if that's the case, then we'll be missing out on him again. On the what I remember what Paratici said very clearly when he first came to the club. He said, "If you really want a player, you shouldn't be haggling over small amounts of money. If a player is worth 30 and you want to pay 27, just pay the extra 3 million, because that extra 3 million could make all the difference when it comes to your upgrading your team." But it always seems to be a sticking point with us. Look, I'm sure it's possible that maybe our haggling could work and we can get a few million off. And, at the end of the day, maybe, they demanded 30 and we'll pay 27 or something. And then you'll say, look, we've got some money off. But sometimes you do risk missing out on a player. And if we do miss out on him for the sake of a few million here and there, that would be very, very frustrating. But that's nothing new for us, is it?
It isn't. Yeah, that's the thing, Simon. You've got to look at it when it comes to this. A few million. I can't remember the name. What's the Korean defender we've been whirling with, and he went. Get us him. We didn't get him. Look what went on for him. Listen, it works the other way, where we did pay the money for Ndombele, and look how bad that turned out. But like you said, Paratici has said that, and I think with this man's track record, you can go with it. It's just concerning. I believe, I don't know if you mentioned it, Sim, I can't remember, that from what I heard, apparently Napoli are prepared to offer a player full time and a player on loan as well. But they've said that they want both as permanent transfers, or at least have an option on the second one. So there's that as well. But that again could be agent talk. It could all be agent talk, but it's developing more in Italy than it is here.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely right. No, I didn't say it, but you're right. There are rumours that Napoli are prepared to offer 2 players plus money for Dragusin, so maybe that is an offer Genoa are more likely to take. We'll have to wait and see. Next story comes from Miguel Delaney of The Independent, and he's been talking about Man United replacing Sergio Reguilon. And this is quite interesting. He said Man United may need a fullback to replace Reguilon, and the open channel with Tottenham has raised the prospect of Ryan Sessegnon going to Man United. I mean, that would be unbelievably bizarre, considering that, Reguilon went there on loan for 6 months, hasn't really impressed so much that they got rid of him in January, and yet they've raised the prospect of potentially bringing Sessegnon, who hasn't played for over a year and hasn't even impressed that much when he has played, to Man United. I mean, do you see any logic in Man United being serious about Ryan Sessegnon?
If this story is legit, it just goes to show just how much of a mess Manchester United Football Club are in. They send back Reguilon, whose fitness is up and down, but had a few good games for Manchester United, but was fit to play. They get rid of him. They may need left back cover, and they sign someone in Ryan Sessegnon, who is non-stop injured. I mean, there was that tweet a few weeks ago that since Sessegnon's injury, Bentancur's had an ACL, had his physio, come back, got another injury, been laid off and come back since Sessegnon last played a game because of a hamstring. This would be the most bizarrest and stupidest deal of the window.
I'll take it, though. If they want to get Sessegnon, they're prepared.
All day long. I sometimes joke about that Spurs sometimes have the Wheel of Fortune, and whatever name it lands on is who they go for, all in good humour and jest. But if Manchester United are going for Ryan Sessegnon, then they are in a million times bigger mess than I thought they were.
It doesn't make too much sense what you're saying, though, because they've got Luke Shaw and they've got Velasquez as well. So why would they need another left back? I don't think I buy this from Miguel Delaney that Reguilon's going to need replacing, because the whole point of Reguilon was that they had Velasquez and Shaw out injured. They didn't have any left backs, but now they're both fit again. So I don't think I'll buy this from Miguel Delaney, but it'll be very interesting if this one does develop at all. Last but not least, we're going to be talking about Ivan Perisic again. Postecoglou was talking in his press conference about the future of Perisic, which is no surprise here, but he said he's working hard, to be fair to Ivan, but yeah, it's fair to say he won't play again this season, and he's unlikely to play for us again. Obviously, with this big injury, with his contract up in the summer, obviously it's no real surprise that is the case, but interesting to hear it from Postecoglou himself. It's a massive shame, isn't it? Because he started the season so well, didn't he? With finally playing in the wing position, especially being an impact sub. He was really doing a great job, and picked up that injury, in training at such an awful time for him. And I think it makes sense that we're probably not going to offer a new contract, given his age and all that. But it's just a case of what could have been if he stayed injury free, isn't it, with him?
Yeah, and it's also a case of what if we had Postecoglou last season rather than Conte, and playing him properly in the advanced position. He came to Tottenham with Conte playing brilliantly, didn't he? He started off brilliantly, assisting everything. Very high assist return for a first season in this position, but near the end of the season just wasn't working. Like I said, we played a huge part in the Sheffield United game. The assist for the corner for Richarlison, and then in the build-up to Kulusevski, the assist for Richarlison at Fulham, he just looks so much more comfortable. We're going to get so much more out of him. And he could have been vital during this time where we've had struggle on the left. He could have been the perfect one, or was the perfect one. It's a shame his Tottenham career is going to end this way. I really thought he was going to be a huge success.
Yeah, me too. But unfortunately, that isn't going to be the case. But I wish him all the best for the future. Unfortunately, probably won't make another appearance in the Tottenham shout. Maybe near the end of the season, if he's back fit, maybe he'll make a customary sub appearance or something. But yeah, I think he probably has played his last game for Spurs, unfortunately. But look, that is all for today's Tottenham update. Let me know in the comment section below any of the stories we've discussed today. Go and subscribe to Brian at Tottenham on Tour as well. The link will be in the title of this video. Big up to Brian for giving up his time yet again. But that is all for today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you